For those of you that don't know me, which I sense is the majority, my name is Clover Rodrigues and I work for the Welsh Local Government Association. And I'm a policy officer in the corporate improvement team. The Welsh Local Government Association, we represent local government, we represent national park authorities, and our associate members are the Fire and Rescue Service. And until the PCCs came along, we also looked after police authorities. So actually our remit is quite wide. We're part lobbying, but we also input and improvement areas. Right. I wanted to. So I wanted to tell you just a little bit about the context and the environment we're working in. So all this good work that you're talking about and doing isn't actually not going anywhere. There is stuff happening on a strategic level. So if I just gave you an overview, would that work for you all? And then you can see what's... Right, okay, what do we know? Am I the only one that's going to mention sums at all in this session? Well, we've got such cuts to public services at the moment. For us in WLGA, we put out a press release after we received our budget settlement from the Welsh Government. And actually, we knew we were facing English staff cuts. There's a 300 million shortfall. And we know we have to find this money somewhere. And how do we do this? And actually there is no roadmap, is there, to how we actually find this way of doing things better. So, and also the Wales Public Services 2025. Have you all heard of the Wales Public Services 2025? Well, they're a think tank. Did I say think tank? Think tank organisation. And what they do is they look at what the future trends are for us across Wales. So what they know and what they tell us is the trends are, is it's not just a case of hunkering down and weathering through this recession. It's not that sort of situation at all. We know we're expecting more from our public services. We want our children to have the best education. We want to live longer. We want to have better quality of life. So actually, there's always going to be a deficit gap in terms of what we want and the resources to actually be able to deliver it. And all the people that spoke on the projects, on your respective projects, all talked about us looking at different ways of doing things. So we've got a double bind of the short-term financial pressures and actually the rising demand long-term. Commission of Public Service and Governance. Has anyone heard of that? Well, you may have seen in the press that actually there's a lot of talk about local government reorganisation. Let me give you some facts about the Commission. The Commission reported, it was led by Sir Paul Williams, and they reported on the 20th of January 2014. And the reason I actually know that is because our press officer went on paternity leave. And all the queries managed to come through to us, so we were dealing with all the press in terms of what does this mean. The Commission was set up as part of the Programme for Government Commitment. That is, we're going to look at how we deliver services. It lasted 8 months. It commissioned specific research. It held 9 public sessions. It received 133 written responses, 120 hours oral evidence, and it's 347 pages. The report itself and the summary is 99 pages. So, if you need something to read over your cocoa. But actually, there's only about 4 or 5 recommendations that refer to the reorganisation. What it actually spoke about, and a bit of it was talking about reshaping public services. And this is what the Commission said. There was strong evidence of widespread and radical shift in the design of public services. They knew this was happening. People were telling them this when they were giving evidence. There's examples of good practice, but they're not widespread. They're not embedded. And Bevan spoke about some of the challenges of actually getting the right people together, getting the right funding together, and being able to deliver a successful project that had sustainable benefits. There was a sign of appetite. There's loads of enthusiasts out there doing lots of stuff, because let's not forget, the reason we're actually in Welsh Public Services is because we want to make a difference. We're not in it for the money. And in terms of actually talking about shaping public services, the Williams Commission says decisions need to be based on better community or service user insight and embraces co-production on service design, commissioning and delivery, and making the most of community assets. So actually, what we're doing is in line with what is happening and what we're doing is on a strategic level. There is also the Welsh Cooperative and Mutuals Commission, which was led by Andrew Davis. So there's lots of people doing lots of work, collecting data and coming up with recommendations for how to do this better. When I last, they're due to report shortly, I think. When I last looked on Friday, Kerry, I don't know if you know any better, but the report hadn't been published as yet, and no doubt that will have recommendations, and the Commission does, the Williams Commission does make reference to that. So hopefully we'll be able to pull all of the relative recommendations and develop a sort of a way forward. We'll have a strategic direction to move forward. There's also a piece of work going on where the Welsh Government is actually refreshing its relationship with the third sector. And there's some agreement, isn't there, Brian, in terms of where we are on that. This is Brian's other role working in the WCBA. And this is talking about how the Welsh Government allocates, amongst other things, funding and bits of work to the WCBA and how they communicate and how they deliver stuff. There's lots of stuff happening. Public Service Leadership Group, has anyone heard of that? Chris Young raised your hand.
So no.
You weren't listening, I know. As you know, we're always going through public service reform. We're always actually looking for how do we do things better. And for Welsh, and for us, at the moment we have what's known as the Public Service Reform Agenda is being led by the Public Services Leadership Group. And what they've done is set up some work streams. And I thought it might be quite useful just to say what the current work streams are. But the thinking is about how do we do stuff and how do we do it better and how do we share this practice. So the key areas this particular programme is looking at is asset management. How do we manage our assets? How long do I have?
2 minutes.
Okay.
The title.
Procurement, because of course how we purchase stuff. I had a very useful conversation with a colleague called Julia about commissioning and what the issues are. This was last night over a beer. Organisation development and Simpson review about how we actually incorporate continuous improvement in the way we do stuff. And a colleague of mine, Matt, standing over there, is part of the continuous improvement network, so we do some work together, but also the effective services for vulnerable groups. So, I mean, these presentations are in the process of being translated. I'll put some useful links on so that you'll be able to kind of see the documentation underpinning that. So for local government, the challenge is the traditional way of doing stuff isn't working. We need to work in partnership with all the stakeholders, and lots of people have said that about learning from others and how to do things better and for us. But it's not easy to change. We had a meeting and we pulled together all the different, this was one of these cluster meetings that we had, and we had Eddie Bartnick, who's the Western Australian Commission for Mental Health. Now, co-production enthusiasm, you say Eddie Bartnick, you say hail after that, don't you, Pam? Yes, you do. The man's actually changed the way in which services are being delivered in Western Australia, and seen as a leader of how to overcome obstacles. Chris mentioned failure. We actually learn from pain, not actually from gain. But these are some of the barriers that we actually identified. We needed a leadership commitment, new language. We've been doing co-production for a long time. We've just been calling it something else. And also having meaningful conversations, because actually people are turning around to the providers, the original service providers, and saying, okay, you cut our funding and you want us to do it as well. That's something we need to deal with. And changing the way in which we work in our relationships. We need to let go of power because we see ourselves as experts and actually we're not. So happening as we speak, WCA produced a document called Putting People at the Centre, which is about co-production. There's a group called the World's Co-Production Implementation Group, and this has been put together by Ruth Hussey. We had our first meeting, and part of the reason Ruth Hussey, the Chief Medical Officer, pulled this group together is because the Minister Mark Drake actually asked for it. So the first part is really to take, this is the starting point, is really to take advice from the practitioners, the people who are actually working in the field, to say, how do we do things different? And Pam was there at the meeting as well, so I'm not sure if we can circulate those notes.
Yeah.
We've got the practitioners network, but more importantly, what we're trying to do is pull together recruitment agencies to provide coherence to the alternative models of service delivery that are out there, to connect people, to share with people. So this stuff is actually happening on a strategic level. Is that all right? You asked me to do brevity, I don't do brevity.
Let's stand closer.